Rain pattered against the windows of the small office as Captain John Miller stared at the empty playground across the street. Puddles formed in the spots where children should have been playing. The swings moved gently in the wind with no small hands to grip their chains. 2 days ago, this place had been full of laughter. Now it was just another crime scene. John's eyes moved to the photo on his desk. His daughter Lily smiled back at him, her front tooth missing and her red hair in messy pigtails. She was among the 200 children taken during what people now called the harvest. "Captain, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Eric Jones, walking into the office with a tablet. "We just got the satellite images from the colony on Mars. Same pattern as here. Children taken, no signs of struggle, all surveillance equipment disabled for exactly 7 minutes." John took the tablet and swiped through the images. "All at the same time?" "Down to the second, sir. Whatever took our kids, they coordinated. Attacks across 12 human settlements simultaneously." John placed the tablet down and looked at the star map on his wall. Humanity had spread to nearby stars over the past century, protected under the umbrella of the Galactic Council. The Zelnorian Empire, the oldest and most powerful member of the Council, had welcomed Earth into the interstellar community with open arms. They had shared technology, open trade routes, and invited humans to their lush homeworld as honored guests. "Have we heard anything from the Zelnorian ambassador?" John asked. Eric shook his head. "Nothing. They've gone quiet." But intelligence picked up unusual activity near their space stations. Large ships moving toward their homeworld. John felt cold anger building inside him. "They're transporting the children." "We don't know that for sure, sir." "I do," John pointed to a report on his desk. "The DNA scans from the abduction sites. They only took kids with certain genetic markers. My team found traces of Zelnorian scanning technology at every location." A door opened again, and Dr. Laver Williams walked in, her lab coat wet from the rain. Her eyes were red from crying or lack of sleep, maybe both. "The President is about to address the United Nations," she said, turning on the small screen on the wall. President Susan Warren stood at the podium, her face grim. Behind her sat representatives from nations across Earth and the colonies. All wore black armbands. "For 120 years, the President began, her voice steady but filled with emotion, "humanity has respected the rules of the Galactic Council. We have traded fairly. We have shared knowledge. We have fought in their wars. And in return, they have taken our children." Murmurs spread through the assembly. "We have confirmed that 200 children between the ages of 6 and 12 were abducted 2 days ago by Zelnorian forces. The Zelnorians, who called themselves our friends, who promised us protection under galactic law, have violated every treaty we signed." The President paused, gripping the sides of the podium. "We brought this matter to the Galactic Council. Their response was to express deep concern, but take no action against the Zelnorians, their oldest and most powerful member." John wasn't surprised. In the centuries since Earth joined the interstellar community, they had learned that the Council mainly served the interests of its founding members. The Zelnorians had ruled unchallenged for thousands of years. "Today," the President continued, "I am asking this Assembly to vote on Resolution 7249, authorizing immediate military action to recover our children, with or without Council approval." The room erupted in shouts and arguments. Eric turned to John with wide eyes. "Military action against the Zelnorians? That's suicide. Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." "What would you suggest?" John asked quietly. "That we abandon our children?" Lavra stepped closer to the screen. "They'll vote yes. Every parent on Earth and the colonies will demand it." She was right. The vote came quickly and was unanimous. For the first time since joining the interstellar community, Earth would act against the wishes of the Galactic Council. The screen changed to show the Secretary of Defense. "Captain Miller, are you watching?" John straightened. "Yes, sir." "The warship Defiance is being prepared as we speak. You'll lead the rescue mission." John felt a mixture of determination and fear. The Defiance was Earth's newest and most advanced vessel, built with a combination of human innovation and technology learned from their alien allies. But it was still no match for the Zelnorian fleet. "Sir, may I speak freely?" John asked. "Go." Ahead, the Zelnorians haven't been challenged militarily in over 3,000 years. There's a reason for that. This mission is likely suicide. The Secretary nodded. "We know. That's why we're only sending volunteers. You're free to decline." John looked at Lily's photo again. "I volunteer, sir. I knew you would. Report to Cape Canaveral in 3 hours. You'll be briefed on the way to orbit." The screen went dark. Eric and Lara stared at John. "I'm coming with you," Lara said. "I'm the leading expert on Zelnorian biology. You'll need me if the children have been harmed." John didn't argue. Lara had lost her son Ben in the abductions. No force in the galaxy could keep her from this mission. "Sir," Eric said, "I'd like to volunteer as well." "Are you sure, Lieutenant? You don't have children." Eric looked at the empty playground through the window. "No, but I have a sister. She's one of the teachers who was knocked unconscious during the abduction. She'll never forgive herself if we don't bring those kids home." John nodded and began gathering his things. Within minutes, they were in a transport heading to the spaceport. Rain streaked across the windows as they passed through empty streets. The usual bustle of the city was gone. Parents were home. Mourning or raging or both dotted the spaceport. Hundreds of military personnel were boarding transports to orbit. Some had tears in their eyes. Others looked determined. All of them knew this might be a one-way trip dot as their transport. Lifted off, John caught a final glimpse of Earth below. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. For a century, humanity had been the newcomers in the galactic community, eager to learn, careful not to offend. They had followed the rules and trusted in the system. That time was over. The Zelnorians had broken the trust by taking their children. Now humanity would show the galaxy what happened when you threatened their young. 6 hours later, John stood on the bridge of the Defiance. Through the main viewport, he could see Earth getting smaller as they prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed. 150 of Earth's best soldiers, scientists, and pilots crewed the ship, all volunteers, all with connections to the taken children. "Captain," said the navigation officer, "we're ready for the jump to Zelnorian space." John took a deep breath and looked at the photo of Lily he had placed on the command console. "Begin the jump sequence," he ordered. "We're bringing our children home." As stars stretched into lines around them, John knew that 3,000 years of peace in the galaxy was about to end. Humanity had been pushed too far. The Zelnorians were about to learn why it was a mistake to underestimate the newest species in the galaxy, especially when their children were at stake. The Defiance dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a flash of blue light. A massive gas giant appeared before them, its swirling storms of orange and red creating beautiful patterns across its surface. John Miller stood on the bridge, watching as the ship's sensors scanned the area. "No signs of Zelnorian patrols," reported Eric, checking the scanner readings. "We're clear for now," John nodded. "Take us in toward the third moon. Keep our energy signature low." The ship moved slowly toward a small rocky moon that orbited the gas giant. According to the information Dr. Lara Williams had gathered, this moon housed an outlaw mining station. The people there weren't friends of the Galactic Council. "Are you sure we can trust these people?" Eric asked quietly. No, John replied, but we don't have much choice. We need help if we're going to face the Zelnorians. Lavra joined them on the bridge, holding a tablet with information about their destination. They call themselves the Forgotten, she explained. They're species that the Council rejected or exploited. Some were deemed too violent for membership, others too poor to matter. And they might help us? Eric asked, sounding doubtful. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, John said, and everyone out here has reason to hate the Council. As they approached the moon, they saw the mining station. It was built into the side of a crater, with parts of it extending underground. Old ships and pieces of scrap metal floated nearby, creating a protective barrier around the station. There, hailing us, said the communications officer. Put them through, John ordered. A harsh voice came through the speakers. Human vessel, identify yourself or be destroyed. John stepped forward. This is Captain John Miller of the Earthship Defiance. We seek an audience with the station commander. There was a long pause before the voice responded. State your business. We come seeking allies against the Zelnorians. They have taken our children. Another pause, longer this time. Finally, the voice said, Docket Bay 4. Come unarmed or don't come at all. John, Laura, and Eric took a small shuttle to the station. As they approached the docking bay, they saw guards with weapons aimed at them. The guards weren't human. Some had scales, others had extra limbs or eyes. They were species John had never seen before. The station commander met them at the airlock. He was tall and reptilian, with rough, dark green scales and a long scar across his face. I am Cress, he said, his voice a low hiss. You are brave or foolish to come here, humans. Maybe both, John admitted. Cress led them through the station. The corridors were crowded with aliens of many different species. Some looked at the humans with curiosity, others with open hostility. Humans, Cress said as they walked. The Council's new favorite pets. Until now, it seems. We were never. They're pets, John said firmly. Cress made a sound that might have been a laugh. All species are pets to the Zelnorians. Some just have longer leashes than others. They entered a large room that seemed to be a meeting place. Around 20 aliens of various species sat or stood around a central table. Cress gestured for the humans to join them. These humans claim the Zelnorians have taken their children, Cress announced to the room. A small insect-like alien with shimmering wings stepped forward. I am Zix, he said, his voice clicking and buzzing. The Zelnorians have been collecting specimens for many years. They took my grandfather's entire clutch of offspring. John pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. It projected images of the abductions on Earth and the colonies. The gathered aliens watched in silence. 200 children. John explained, all taken on the same day. We went to the Council for help, Lavra added. They did nothing. Of course they did nothing, said a female alien with thick fur and a monkey-like face. The Council exists to protect the Zelnorians, not to challenge them. I am Tala, she continued, stepping closer to examine the images. My people were geneticists before the Council banned our research. The Zelnorians are collecting specific genetic markers across species. Your children likely possess something they want. Lavra looked at Tala with interest. Can you tell us more about that? What would they want with human children specifically? As Tala and Lara began to talk about genetics, John addressed the room. We're not asking for an army. We know most of you have no reason to help humans, but we need information. Technology that can breach Zelnorian defenses. Anything that might help us get our children back. You're planning to attack the Zelnorians? Cress asked, sounding surprised. No species has challenged them in 3,000 years. We'll be the first, then, John said simply. The aliens in the room looked at each other. Some seemed skeptical, others interested. "What's in it for us?" asked a large, blob-like alien with multiple eyes. John thought for a moment. If we succeed, the Zelnorians will be weakened. Maybe weak enough that they can no longer control the Council. That would benefit everyone here. And if you fail? Cress asked. Then we die trying to save our children, John said. But we won't fail without hurting them first. The aliens discussed among themselves in various languages. Meanwhile, Lavra and Tala continued their conversation about genetics, growing more animated as they shared information. The Zelnorians have been collecting genetic material for millennia, Tala explained. They're particularly interested in neural pathways, brain development. Human brains develop differently than most species in the galaxy. But why take children? Lavra asked. Why not just take DNA samples? Because they want more than just the genetic code, Tala said grimly. They want the developing minds. As the discussions continued, Eric leaned close to John. Sir, he whispered, we're technically committing treason by associating with banned species. If the Council finds out, John looked around the room at the outcasts who had been rejected or exploited by the Galactic Council. Sometimes, Lieutenant, you need to break the rules to do what's right. After hours of discussion, the outcasts began to offer help. Zix provided maps of Zelnorian space that weren't available in Council databases. A group of engineers showed John experimental weapons that might penetrate Zelnorian shields. Tala shared her research on Zelnorian biology, pointing out potential weaknesses. By the time they prepared to leave, the Defiance carried new weapons, detailed maps, and valuable information. But most importantly, they had allies. Many of the outcasts had decided to join their mission, bringing their own ships to form a small fleet. Why are you really helping us? John asked Cress as they prepared to depart. The reptilian commander looked at him with his yellow eyes. Because for 3,000 years, we've waited for someone to finally challenge the Zelnorians. Maybe humans are just crazy enough to succeed where others have failed. As they returned to the Defiance, Lavra shared what she had learned from Tala. The Zelnorians are doing something with the neural pathways of developing minds. They've been collecting children from various species for thousands of years. For what purpose? John asked. Tala doesn't know for sure, Lavra said, but she thinks it has something to do with how the Zelnorians maintain their power. She says we need to get to their homeworld to find out more. John looked out at the small fleet of ships that had joined them. They were old and patched together, but their crews were determined. They had all suffered under Zelnorian rule in some way. Set course for Zelnorian Prime, John ordered as they returned to the bridge. It's time to get our children back. As the Defiance and its new allies prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, John looked at the photo of Lily on his console. We're coming, he whispered. Hold on. The small fleet of ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zelnorian system. The Defiance led the way, its sensors scanning for enemy patrols. John stood on the bridge, looking at the display that showed the Zelnorian homeworld, a blue-green planet surrounded by defense stations. Their planetary shields are active, Eric reported. Just as we expected. What about the children? John asked. Laura studied her screen. According to Tala's information, they should be in the main research complex on the northern continent. If we can get close enough, we might be able to scan for human life signs. John turned to Commander Olivia Carter, who led the ship's Special Forces team. Commander, prepare your infiltration team. We need to get inside that facility. Olivia nodded. We'll be ready, sir. The plan was risky. While the small fleet created a distraction near one of the orbital defense platforms, a cloaked shuttle would slip through a gap in the planetary shields. The technology for the cloaking device had been provided by Zix, who claimed it could. Hide them from Zelnorian sensors. All ships move into position, John ordered. Remember, we're not trying to win a battle here. We just need to create enough chaos to slip our team through. The outcast ships spread out, approaching the outer defense ring. The Defiance moved behind a small moon, hiding from the main sensors. Shuttle team, prepare for launch, John said to Olivia. And her team of 6 soldiers boarded the shuttle, along with Lara. They needed the doctor in case the children were injured or drugged. John watched as the shuttle's cloaking device activated, making it nearly invisible. Good luck, he said, as the shuttle launched from the Defiance's bay dot. Just as the shuttle cleared the ship, alarms sounded on the bridge. Zelnorian patrol ships. Incoming, Eric shouted. 3 vessels, heavy class. They've spotted us, John said. All ships, begin the distraction now. The outcast fleet broke cover and started firing at the orbital defense platform. The Zelnorian patrol ships immediately moved to intercept them, firing energy weapons that lit up space with blue light. The shuttle is away, Eric reported, cloaking device holding. John watched as the shuttle slipped past the fighting and headed toward the planet. Now all they could do was wait and hope the team could find the children. On the shuttle, Olivia checked her weapons while Lavra monitored their approach to the planet. We're approaching the shield gap, Lavra said. If Zix's information is correct, we should be able to slip through near the southern pole. The shuttle shook as they passed through the planetary shield, the energy field crackling around them. Then they were through, flying in the upper atmosphere of Zelnorian Prime. Setting course for the research facility, Olivia said, taking control of the shuttle. Keeping low to avoid detection, they flew over vast oceans and strange forests, with purple and blue trees. The landscape was beautiful, but they had no time to admire it. Soon they approached a large complex of white buildings surrounded by gardens. That's it, Lavra said, checking her scanner. I'm detecting human life. Signs, a lot of them. The shuttle landed in a wooded area near the complex. The team disembarked quickly, weapons ready. But there were no guards, no security patrols. The place looked peaceful. This doesn't make sense, Olivia whispered as they approached the facility. Where's the security? Using devices provided by their outcast allies, they bypassed the electronic locks on a side door and entered the complex. Inside, they found wide hallways with natural light streaming through large windows. It looked more like a school or a resort than a prison. The human life signs are coming from the central area, Laura said, checking her scanner. But I'm also detecting many other species. They moved carefully through the facility, hiding whenever they saw Zelnorians. The aliens were tall and elegant, with pale blue skin and large eyes. They didn't seem to be carrying weapons. Over there, Lavra whispered, pointing to a large open area visible through glass walls. What they saw shocked them all. It was a beautiful garden with children playing. Human children, alongside younglings from dozens of other species. They looked happy, laughing as they played games or sat in small groups. I don't understand, Olivia said. They don't look like prisoners. Lavra checked her scanner again. Their brain chemistry shows mild euphoria. They're being drugged or manipulated somehow. There's Lily, Olivia said, spotting John's daughter among a group of children who appeared. To be in a lesson with a Zelnorian teacher. And Ben, Lavra added, her voice catching as she saw her son. We need to find out what's really going on here, Olivia decided. Dr. Williams, stay here and monitor the children. The rest of us will. Try to find their secure archives. Lavra nodded, her eyes fixed on her son. Olivia and her team moved deeper into the facility, following the directions Tala had provided. They found a secure door that required special access. This should be their main data center, one of the soldiers said, using a device to bypass the lock. The door slid open, revealing a room filled with glowing data terminals. Olivia assigned 2 soldiers to stand guard while the rest of them searched for information. "Look at this," a soldier said, bringing up files on one of the terminals. The files revealed a shocking truth. The Zelnorians weren't just taking children. They were cultivating them. Images showed brain scans and neural pathways being mapped and somehow harvested. The entire Galactic Council was founded on this practice, Olivia said as she read through the files. The Zelnorians have been collecting exceptional minds from across the galaxy for 9,000 years. The data showed that the Zelnorians possessed a unique ability to extract and preserve neural patterns, essentially harvesting consciousness itself. They integrated these minds into a vast neural network that powered their civilization and technology. The peace isn't maintained by diplomacy, Olivia realized, studying the ancient records. It's maintained by fear. Every council member knows what happens if they object. Most disturbing was the information about humanity's rapid acceptance into the council. Unlike other species granted membership after thousands of years of probation, humans had been fast-tracked specifically for their neurological diversity and adaptability. Human children were particularly valuable resources. "We need to get this information back to the captain," Olivia said, copying the files. Meanwhile, Lavra had slipped into the garden area, trying to get closer to her son. When Ben saw her, he showed no recognition. His eyes were slightly unfocused, his smile pleasant but vacant. "Ben, it's Mom," Lavra whispered. "We've come to take you home." Ben tilted his head. "I am home," he said, his voice strangely flat. "I'm going to become part of the Great Mind. It's an honor." "What have they done to you?" Lavra asked, tears in her eyes. A Zelnorian teacher approached. "He's being prepared for ascension," she said in perfect English. "As are all the chosen ones. They will join our collective consciousness and live forever as part of something greater." Lavra backed away, realizing that all the children had been brainwashed. Their memories had been altered, their identities rewritten as they were. Prepared for ascension into the Zelnorian collective, she hurried back to meet Olivia's team, who had finished gathering data. "We need to extract all the children," Lavra said urgently. "They've been conditioned to believe they want to be here." "That complicates things," Olivia said. "We can't just lead them out if they don't want to come." Before they could form a new plan, alarms blared throughout the facility. The Zelnorian High Command had discovered their presence. "Back to the shuttle," Olivia ordered. "We need to get this information to the fleet." As they ran toward their exit, Lavra looked back at the garden where her son continued playing, unaware that his mother had come to save him. "We'll be back," she promised. "We'll save you all." The team reached the shuttle just as Zelnorian security forces began to converge on the area. They took off, racing back toward the gap in the planetary shields. "Defiance, this is Shuttle 1, Olivia called. "Mission accomplished. We have the intel, but the situation is more complex than we thought. The children are alive but brainwashed." On the bridge of the Defiance, John received the message as his ship exchanged fire with Zelnorian vessels. "Get back here as fast as you can," he ordered. "The Zelnorians have called for reinforcements. The Council fleet is on its way." John looked at the display showing the approaching Council warships. The Defiance was about to become the first ship in 3,000 years to fire upon the architects of galactic peace. But now they knew the truth. There had never been true peace, only submission to the Zelnorians' horrifying harvest. The shuttle raced back to the Defiance, dodging Zelnorian patrol ships along the way. On board, Lavra reviewed the data they had stolen from the research facility while Olivia piloted the craft. "It's worse than we thought," Lavra said, her voice shaking. "The Zelnorians don't just take the children's minds. They erase their original personalities completely. The children stop existing as individuals. Olivia kept her eyes on the controls, weaving through the chaotic space battle around. Them? We'll get them back, Doctor. We'll find a way to reverse the process. The shuttle broke through the fighting and approached the Defiance. The human warship was taking heavy fire from 2 Zelnorian cruisers, its shields flickering with each hit. Defiance. This is Shuttle 1 requesting emergency docking, Olivia called. Shuttle 1, you are cleared for docking Bay 3, came the reply. Make it fast. We can't hold them off much longer. The shuttle slipped into the docking bay just as another blast rocked the ship. Olivia and Laura ran from the shuttle to the bridge, where they found John directing the battle. Captain, we have the information, Olivia reported. But it's not good news. Laura connected her data device to the main computer and brought up the files they had stolen. John watched as images of the facility and the neural harvesting process appeared on the screen. The Zelnorians are using our children to power their technology, Laura explained. They've been doing this for thousands of years with dozens of species. That's the secret to their advanced civilization. And the Council knows about this? John asked, his face hard with anger. They all know, Laura confirmed. It's how the Zelnorians control them. Each council member is required to provide children as a tribute every few decades. Those who refuse are kicked out of the council, or worse. John looked at the tactical display. Their small fleet was being pushed back by the Zelnorian forces, and more council ships were arriving. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Zelnorian command ship, Eric reported. Put it through, John ordered. The holographic image of Ambassador Gregory Franklin, humanity's representative to the Galactic Council, appeared on the bridge. His face was calm, but his eyes looked strangely empty. Captain Miller, by authority of Earth government and the Galactic Council, you are ordered to stand down immediately, the ambassador said in a flat voice. John noticed Franklin's unnaturally stiff posture. They've gotten to him already, he muttered. Then louder. Ambassador, they're harvesting our children. Did they tell you that when they put one of their mind parasites in you? Franklin's expression didn't change. The integration protocol benefits all species, Captain. The Zelnorians share their collected wisdom with the entire council. Your daughter will become part of something greater. Something greater? John repeated, his voice rising. They're erasing our children's minds. They're stealing their consciousness. This is the way it has always been, Franklin replied. 3,000 years of peace require sacrifice. John cut the transmission. They've brainwashed him, just like the children. Sir, what are our orders? Eric asked. The ship shook as another blast hit their shields. John looked at the tactical display. Again, the Zelnorian system had a weakness. The orbital mind shield, generators that protected their homeworld, drew power directly from the neural network containing harvested consciousnesses. All ships, target the northern generator array, John ordered over the fleet channel. Remember, we're not just fighting for our children. We're fighting for every consciousness they've stolen for 9,000 years. The remaining ships of their small fleet acknowledged the order and began to move toward the generator. The Zelnorian ships tried to intercept them, but they were scattered, trying to protect too many targets at once. Divert all power to forward. Shields and weapons, John told Eric. We're going to punch through their defense line. The Defiance surged forward, its engines straining as it accelerated toward the orbital generator. Zelnorian ships fired at them, but most of the shots were absorbed by their reinforced shields. Impact in 30 seconds, Eric reported. All ships, focus fire on the generator's main power coupling, John ordered. The Defiance fired first, its main weapon sending a beam of energy toward the generator. The other ships in their fleet followed, each one hitting the same spot. The The generator shields began to flicker. "It's working!" Eric shouted. "Their shields are failing." Just as victory seemed possible, a new fleet of ships appeared at the edge of the system. They were council vessels, led by a massive flagship. "Sir, we have an incoming transmission from the council flagship," Eric said. The holographic image of a tall, elegant Selnorian appeared on the bridge. "This is High Commander, the Lex of the Galactic Council. Your actions are in violation of all council laws. Surrender now, or be destroyed." John ignored the transmission. "Continue the attack. We need to destroy that generator." The Defiance fired again, joined by the remaining ships in their fleet. The generator's shields failed completely, and the next volley of shots hit the structure itself. Explosions rippled across its surface. "Sir, we've lost the Crescent and Zixian vessels," Eric reported. 11 more of our ships are taking heavy damage." "Press the advantage," John ordered. "We may never get another chance." The generator began to break apart, secondary explosions tearing through its core. Then, with a final massive blast, it exploded completely. Something unexpected happened. Across the Zelnorian system, lights flickered as millions of preserved consciousnesses, suddenly freed from containment, sought escape. The Zelnorian ships faltered as their neural-linked pilots lost connection to the network. "What's happening?" Eric asked as the enemy fleet drifted powerless. John watched in awe as ghostly patterns of energy streamed from the planet below, coalescing into a shimmering aurora visible across the system. 3,000 years of captives," he whispered. "They're finally breaking free." The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the aurora grew, spreading through space like a living thing. Some of the energy patterns seemed to take recognizable forms, shapes that might have once been people or other intelligent beings. "The neural network is collapsing," Lara said, checking her instruments. "Without the generator to contain them, all the harvested minds are escaping." "Sir, I'm detecting massive power failures across the Zelnorian fleet," Eric reported. "Their ships are shutting down. What about the children?" John asked. "What's happening to them?" Lara studied her readings. "The conditioning process requires constant connection to the network. With the network collapsing, the children might be freed from the Zelnorian influence." "Take us into orbit," John ordered. "We need to get down there and find them." As the Defiance moved toward the planet, the council ships that had arrived to stop them were now drifting, their Zelnorian-based systems failing. Only the human ship, with its independent technology, remained fully operational. "Sir, I'm receiving thousands of distress calls," Eric said, "from all over the Zelnorian system. Their technology is failing everywhere." John looked at the tactical display. The Zelnorian civilization, built on 9,000 years of stolen minds, was collapsing before their eyes. Their mighty warships drifted powerless. Their orbital stations were going dark. "Launch all shuttles," John ordered. "Get to the research facility and find our children. If the Zelnorian conditioning is weakening, we might be able to reach them now." As the shuttles launched from the Defiance, John watched the continuing aurora of freed minds spreading through the system. Humanity had come to rescue their children and had accidentally liberated countless consciousnesses trapped for millennia. "Sir," Eric said quietly, "I think we just ended more than 3,000 years of Zelnorian domination." John nodded, his eyes fixed on the planet where his daughter was. "Let's make sure it was worth it. Let's bring our children home." 1 year had passed since the day humans broke the power of the Zelnorian Empire. Captain John Miller stood in the observation deck of the new Galactic Assembly Station, a massive structure built in orbit around a neutral world. Through the large windows, he could see ships from dozens of species arriving for the historic meeting. "Dad, come look," called Lily, tugging at his hand. "I can see the ships from the Forgotten." John smiled and followed his daughter to another window. Lily had recovered well in the past year. When they had found her in the Zelnorian facility after the neural network collapsed, she had been confused and frightened. The Zelnorian conditioning had begun to break down, leaving the children with fragmented memories. Some, like Lily, had recovered quickly. Others still struggled with nightmares and confusion. "Those are Cressa's ships," John said, pointing to a group of vessels with distinctive green markings. "He's representing the outer systems now." The rescue of the children had been just the beginning. When the Zelnorian neural network collapsed, their entire civilization had fallen with it. The council races, suddenly free from centuries of subtle control, had descended into confusion and conflict, not only humanity, led by the crew of the Defiance and quickly supported by the previously marginalized species, had been organized enough to establish order. In the months that followed, a new alliance had formed the Galactic Assembly, a true democracy where all species had equal voice. "Captain Miller," called a voice behind him. He turned to see Dr. Laura Williams approaching with her son Ben. The boy still had occasional blank moments when the Zelnorian conditioning resurfaced, but he was recovering well. "It's almost time for the ceremony," Lavra said. President Warren asked if you would join her on the platform. John nodded. "Of course. Lily, would you like to go with Ben and Dr. Williams? I'll see you after the speeches." Lily hugged her father, and then went with Ben and Lavra. John watched them go, still amazed that they had succeeded in getting the children back. Of the 200 abducted, they had recovered all but 3. Those 3 had already been fully integrated into the Zelnorian collective before the network collapsed. Their bodies lived, but their original minds were gone. John made his way to the main chamber of the assembly station. Representatives from 83 species filled the large room. Most had never been granted a voice in interstellar affairs before. The former council races were present too, though they no longer held special status. The Zelnorians themselves, reduced to a fraction of their former power, sat in a small section. Observers rather than leaders. President Susan Warren stood at the central podium, preparing to address the assembly. She saw John and motioned for him to join her on the platform. "Captain Miller," she said warmly, "the hero of the hour." "I was just doing my job, Madam President," John replied, "trying to get our children back, and in the process, liberating countless minds and ending the tyranny of the Zelnorians," she said. "History will remember you well." The chamber grew quiet as President Warren stepped up to speak. "We gather today not as conquerors, but as liberators," she began. "Not just of our own children, but of countless consciousnesses trapped for millennia. The peace that existed before was built on subjugation and fear. The peace we build today will be founded on respect and freedom." John looked out at the gathered representatives. Some, like Cress and Tala, had been outcasts just a year ago. Now they were respected leaders of their peoples. Others, like the Zelnorian representatives, had fallen from power but were being given a chance to rejoin galactic society as equals rather than rulers. The Zelnorian Empire's crime spanned 9,000 years, Warren continued. They harvested the minds of innocent beings to power their technology and maintain their control. With the help of Captain Miller and his crew, along with our allies from the outer systems, that crime has ended. The assembly applauded. Even some of the Zelnorian representatives joined in. Their civilization had been forced to confront the horror at its foundation. Many younger Zelnorians had not known the truth and were horrified when it was revealed. "Today we sign the Declaration of Sentient Rights," Warren said, gesturing to a document displayed on screens around the chamber. "This document guarantees that no being will ever again be harvested, controlled, or exploited against their will." John spotted Lily in the audience, sitting with Ben and Lavra. She waved when she saw him looking. His heart swelled with pride and relief. They had come so close to losing her forever. After the ceremony, John walked with Lily through the gardens of the station. The artificial environment was designed to contain plants from many worlds, creating a symbol of unity. "Dad," Lily asked, "what happened to all the people who were in the Zelnorian machines? The ones who were trapped for a long time?" John had no easy answer. Some of the freed minds had dissipated, finally finding peace after centuries of captivity. Others had managed to download into synthetic bodies or organic hosts. Many remained as energy patterns, communicating through specialized interfaces, a new form of existence altogether. "They'll find their way," he told her, "just like we did." They stopped at a viewing window that looked out on the stars. In the distance, Earth was just visible, a small blue dot among countless others. "Are we going home soon?" Lily asked. "Yes," John said. "Our work here is almost done." The Defiance had been transformed in the past year, from a warship to a diplomatic vessel. John's crew had become ambassadors of sorts, helping to build bridges between formerly isolated species. But now it was time to return to Earth. The first phase of the new galactic assembly was complete. "Will there be more fighting?" Lily asked, her voice small. John knelt beside her. "I hope not. We're trying to build something better than what came before. A real peace, not one built on fear and control." As they walked back to their quarters, John saw Tala speaking with a group of former council representatives. The simian scientist had become a respected voice in the new order, her previously banned research now recognized for its value. "Captain Miller," she called, excusing herself from the group. "I wanted to thank you again. Without humans, we might never have broken free of Zelnorian control." "We just wanted our children back," John said simply. Tala smiled. "Sometimes the most important revolutions start with the simplest desires. You went to war for your children and ended up liberating the galaxy." Later, as John prepared for the Defiance's journey back to Earth, he looked at a photo of his crew, taken just after they had rescued the children. They had been exhausted, wounded, but triumphant. They had faced the most powerful empire in known space, and somehow won. The galaxy was different now. The former council races were learning to exist without Zelnorian guidance, previously ignored. Species were finding their voices. The Zelnorians themselves were rebuilding their society without stolen minds to power it. It wouldn't be easy. Some former council races resented human prominence in the new order. Resources were strained from the conflict. Old rivalries between species threatened to create new tensions. But as John watched, representatives from dozens of species, former enemies, and new allies alike working together on the station, he felt something he hadn't expected to find after all the fighting, hope. Humanity had gone to war for their children and ended up liberating the galaxy. Now came the harder part, building a peace worth preserving. John closed his quarters and headed to the docking bay where the Defiance waited. Lily walked beside him, holding his hand. They were going home, but they were part of something much larger now. A new galactic community, built on freedom rather than control. "Ready to go, Captain?" Eric asked as they boarded the ship. John looked at Lily, then back at his lieutenant. "Yes," he said. "Let's go home."